mixing it up by going with Jersey Night in honor of the NBA season coming to a close and the playoffs are just around the corner. We're going to have plenty of capital J segments coming up, and we're even going to talk a little bit of soccer later in the show. So soccer is a little bit new for us on StorrsNation. We're not really soccer guys, but we want to make sure that we stay woke on all the major pro sports, so you're going to want to stay tuned for this. But for now, at the desk, I'm joined by Brandon Carney and Nick Lahara, a couple of bad boy journalists. And right after this quick break, we're just going to jump right into the NBA, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. So it's Jersey Night, which you already know, and we're going to start the show by just doing a little quick background on some of the most high fashion in the sporting fan world by telling our viewers why we chose the jerseys for the special night. So why does your jersey matter in the world of sports? Nick, learn us a little bit of knowledge.
All right, well, I'm rocking with the Patrick Ewing Team USA jersey.
Yes.
This was specially made to commemorate one of the greatest teams of all time, the Dream Team. 11 players on the roster are actually in the Hall of Fame, and to put this in perspective, Patrick Ewing was actually the sixth man.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy hitting stuff right there. A lot of Hall of Famers. So I'm rocking tonight. I'm rocking the most hated player because you got to respect Nick Young, aka Swaggy P, under-respected shooting guard. He can really mix it up during a game. You know, he might be one of the top 10 shooting guards of all time, and you have to respect the prophet of swag. But Brandon, what are you going with?
Well, similar to you, I'm wearing a jersey of someone who's number 0 and also kind of a bum, admittedly. But it's Emmanuel Mudiay, Denver Nuggets jersey. I am a Nuggets fan. I wish it was literally anyone else on the team because he got benched for Jameer Nelson late in the year, who's 35 years old and looks like a literal chicken nugget. So I'm not really happy I own this now as my only Nuggets jersey, but you win some, you lose some.
You hate to see it.
It's nice at least.
We're going to dive right in. We're going right to some segments. So first up, we're getting into some power rankings. And since it's Jersey Night, we're going to stick with the Jersey theme. And it's also Darty season. So we're going to rank our top 5 favorite throwback NBA jerseys. So criteria for the uniform, we've got colors, player irony, and you can go with all-time greats too. So Nick, give me a top 5.
All right, I got to start with the Phoenix Suns 1993 jerseys. You know, the honor that the team that actually went to the finals and we played the Bulls, lost in 6. You know, still a heartbreaker. I wasn't born till '97, but it still hurts. I gotta go with the Chargers powder blues. Those are one of the most iconic jerseys in the NFL. And then now we got to go from good to bad. The Steelers bumblebees, my goodness. One of the most terrible jerseys I've ever seen, along with the Eagles green and yellow. They haven't been seen since 2007.
Really,
y'all need to thank the
really
heavens for
hard
it.
to look at.
It's terrible. And lastly, though, we got to end on a good note. UConn original blue. I don't know what we were thinking in 2013 with those hideous face masks with the husky on the top. What are we thinking? But we made some changes, and it's looking up, baby. Bring back the blue.
So, you know, I really don't know what to say here, dog. Like, you gotta respect UConn and the Suns, but the Bumblebees, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. So Brandon, I'm gonna need you to cleanse my jersey.
All right,
palette.
I'll try. I mean, you're probably not gonna be happy, but the Steelers do show up again somewhere. But first, we've got number 5, the Utah Jazz, the purple with the mountains on them, the old Malone Stockton days. Like, you can't really beat that. I mean, you can. There's 4 others that do, but you know they're good. Number 4, the Vancouver Grizzlies, back when the Memphis Grizzlies were still in Canada. They had that, whatever that design was on the collar, I don't really know, and then just huge Grizzlies right here. It was great.
Yeah, you gotta love that bear.
Yeah,
full bear.
absolutely.
Especially like jerseys that have like a full animal.
Yeah, exactly. That's just takes up all of the space. Then number 3, the return of the Steelers Bumblebee jerseys. See, this is where we disagree. The worse they are, the better they are as a throwback. Because, like, you don't need to wear them all the time, and then when you see them, you're like, I don't know what I'm even looking at, but it's got my attention. Then number 2, Nuggets fan, Nuggets rainbow jerseys throwback. They don't wear them too much anymore. But that's the one thing I could say about my team that people actually do
Matumbo
like, and that is looked on favorably. The Matumbo days, yes. And then number 1, the purple Raptors jersey, the Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady days,
another
the
big
huge
animal.
Raptor, taking up the entire thing. So yeah, that rounds out my top 5.
I didn't even know anybody liked the Bumblebees.
Yeah,
and
happy to educate you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I don't really know what to say, but I think you guys did overlook a couple. Even though I did like the Jazz throwbacks, those are pretty sweet. Stockton, great Darty. Great Darty material right there. So I'm going to go with Orlando Magic throwbacks with the pinstripes and that star, because everybody likes an ironic Penny Hardaway jersey at a tailgate. It's a fan favorite. And then 2, I got to go Kansas City Royals powder blue, because everybody knows that Bo knows throwbacks.
Bo knows, of course.
So yeah, that's our jersey segment. And so from here, we're going to go with some real NBA talk. And if you're planning on attending that Darty, just now you're educated. Stay woke on Darty outfits. But now moving on, NBA news. We're going to name a few of the most impressive performances of the season. So, Nick, what performances are you going to remember for the remainder of this season?
I need to take a breath. Devin Booker, 70 points. He's 20 years old. In the NBA, dropping 70 points. I'm 19, trying to get a nickel tonight. I probably wouldn't get. I'm probably getting thrown out. This man is dropping 70 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists in a game. What? How? I said it the day he was drafted, he'd be better than Kobe, and I'm looking good now.
Huh. So that kind of came out of nowhere, but you can't deny it's a pretty impressive. I don't know about Kobe, but we'll take it. So what are you thinking, Brandon?
I mean, I was with you until the Kobe thing, and then I don't know what to say anymore. But I'm going with James Harden's performance against the New York Knicks on New Year's Eve. This season's been all about triple-doubles, and this might have been the most impressive one of the bunch. Harden finished the game with 53 points, 17 assists, and 16 rebounds. Tied Wilt Chamberlain for the most points put up in a triple-double in NBA history. Now, 70 points is incredible, but I'm a sophisticated man. I like my stat sheets to be well-rounded,
okay.
And that's something Harden produced. What did Booker have? 8 rebounds, 6 assists? Come on.
8 rebounds, 6 assists.
Get to double digits, my man. Get there.
20 years old.
Anyway, both impressive, but I'm really surprised nobody mentioned Swaggy P going for 26 against the Raptors. No assists. He didn't have any assists. But that's because he's so good at shooting. He doesn't need to do that because he's the best one. So why would you pass the ball up when you're the best player on the court? I don't get it.
You're graduating, right?
Anyways, yeah.
You're gone after this? All right.
We're going to commercial. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we're going to interrupt our NBA discussion momentarily for some breaking news in the soccer world. Woo! This is going to be a new segment called UCFC, and alongside me is StorrsNation soccer correspondent Daniela Marulanda, who is going to help us stay woke on some big-time soccer news here. So, Daniela, what's the hottest soccer story on the planet right now?
Well, that's right. The big topic for this week on soccer here and around the world is the triple bid for the 2016 World Cup. USA, Canada, and Mexico are preparing for the first time to offer a joint bid to host the biggest tournament in 3 different countries.
So how's this going to work logistically?
Well, since FIFA expanded to 48 teams, the World Cup will have now 80 games, and 60 of those games will be here in the United States. And every game on from the quarterfinal will be here in the United States. That means that 10 games will be played in Mexico and 10 games will be in Canada. And it seems like this is a sure win for these countries. However, I don't think that this is going to be a good proposal for either Mexico or Canada.
That's a lot of games. What are some aspects to consider for this, because there's just so many of them?
Well, Cam, this would be the first time ever 3 countries will host the World Cup, and every World Cup host automatically is in the tournament. We don't know exactly how FIFA will distribute the spot for the World Cup, so there is uncertainty in the aspect. But this would be huge for Canada, who would be hosting who would be in the men's tournament for the first time ever, and Mexico, who would avoid game against the United States. There's also the area of the turf because in Canada, the last World Cup, the Women's World Cup was played in turf. This would never happen in the men's tournament. This is not going to fly with FIFA. Players are not going to like it, and I don't like it. It would be extremely disrespectful for the sport. That's just a no. And lastly, there's also the political climate, the Trump travel ban, and FIFA would demand that everyone that enters into the tournament will be allowed to come here as a fan, as a team, and the coaching staff. U.S. Soccer President Sonia Gulati said that President Trump is on board and encourages the bid, something to wonder since he is not the biggest fan of Mexico. But politics aside, I think it's embarrassing that Mexico and Canada would agree with this proposal because they only get to host 10 games each, probably the most boring games of the tournament if you ask me. So is it worth it for them to invest in this? I don't think so.
I'm a big natural grass guy. I don't really like the whole AstroTurf thing. So that's definitely something to consider too, especially because FIFA requires that you have to play on natural grass, of course. So why would they agree to this type of
Well, this
agreement?
is all apolitical and something to be on the World Cup. They wouldn't have to play in the pre-tournament before the World Cup. They would be here in the tournament, so they would be fresh. They wouldn't have to be playing around every few months. It would also avoid the game against Mexico and the USA, and this would benefit both countries.
Well, we're going to have to wait until the vote takes place and see who else emerges as a possible contender to host the World Cup. But for this week, that's going to be our soccer talk, and I think we all learned something. So let's go back to the NBA, and we're going to do that right after this quick break. Okay, so we're back with Nick and Brandon back at the table, and we're ready to talk some more NBA. And probably the most heated debate right now in basketball is the MVP race between James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and even some other players you could probably throw in there. And this race might even be closer than a DeAndre Jordan versus Andre Drummond free throw contest. So we're just going to go right to the star-studded panel. And Brandon, who's your MVP?
All right, well, on the surface it seems close, but when you break it down this way, one man is doing something only one other player's ever done, the other guy's not. So in that sense, I don't think it's close, and I think Russell Westbrook is the MVP. He averaged a triple-double. That's not something I ever thought I'd see in my lifetime. I knew Oscar Robertson did it back in the day. I didn't think that was ever something I'd even come close to seeing. He's out here, what does he have now? 42 triple-doubles on the season, averaging one. I don't care.
He does own the record. The NBA record for most triple doubles.
I don't care where the Thunder are at in the standings. I know the Rockets are a way more successful team overall, and Harden is the other guy trying to fight Westbrook for this MVP award. I don't think that matters. Westbrook's too good. Put him on any team, they're a million times better, and he's just doing historic things this season. So I'm giving him the MVP award.
All right, Nick, what do you got to say to that?
Here we go. And this is where you're wrong. James Harden's the MVP, and this is why. He's averaging 29 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, along with 11.2 assists. Now, their team had 41 wins last year. They went up to 55. They're the 3 seed in the West now. They were the 8th last year. Now, with the new offense with Mike D'Antoni, James Harden's now changed to a point guard, and he's averaging more assists than Russell Westbrook. And it's funny that you bring up the triple-double because Harden's also averaging 8 rebounds per game. So, it's 2 rebounds. I mean, come on. Is it
2 rebounds a game? Yeah, that's like 160 on the year. He's pretty far away,
Russell
if we're being
Westbrook
honest.
also shot 400 more shots as a point guard.
I mean, he's surrounded by Kyle Singler, I think.
Oh,
so like
who's on the Rockets?
Other players,
take
decent
James
players.
Harden. Take James Harden off the Rockets, and that team is having a 7-game series with the Nets.
See, that's also a pretty difficult part of the debate. Is there's a lot of interpretations of the MVP award. Is it the best player in the league? Which that's why LeBron James comes into the conversation.
Right. We don't want to talk about LeBron.
Which is not in this discussion.
We don't want to talk about
LeBron. We're talking about the real MVP discussion, which is the most valuable player to their team.
Yep.
So with that aspect in mind, Nick, what do you have to say about Harden and the Rockets?
I mean, how can you say anybody but James Harden? Like I said, 41 wins last year. They go up to 55 when he's the team starting point guard. And once again, when you go through the roster, their point guard is, he's the point guard. Their shooting guard is Patrick Beverly, Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella, and
a couple other guys who we don't even know.
And a couple guys we don't know. Like, the team is not a great team. It's not a great Rockets team. You know, when you stack them up against the top teams in the West, do you think they'll compete against them? I don't think so. But James Harden is so great that he's elevated them to 55 wins and the top 3 seed in the West. And they're actually, if they were in the East, they'd be the #1 seed.
All right, all I'm going to say is if we're going off supporting cast, I'm pretty sure when the Thunder got Doug McDermott earlier in the year, people thought that was a big acquisition because they have so little. And the dude is not a thing. He went to Creighton. So, I mean, and I've always interpreted MVP as best player, like how they would be on any team, not most valuable player to their own team. Because that's the argument that a couple years ago people were saying Peyton Manning should have won the award with the Colts when he missed the whole year. Because the team went 0-16. They were like, he's clearly the most valuable. No, get him out of here. But I think it's just best player in the league. And if that's how it's being interpreted, then Westbrook's got the numbers and he's got everything you want. I realize that if it's most valuable to your team, the Thunder are, you know, significantly worse without him, but still going to miss the playoffs and, you know, bad record. But he's still too good not to give the MVP to.
Yeah, also both really good players, really good seasons. I mean, in every statistical category, they're in the top of the NBA, and obviously we're talking about like 2 of the best players in the league. So it's a really hard discussion. So we've got Westbrook, we got Harden.
The MVP is
we won't be back next week, but check back in a couple weeks.
James Harden.
Yeah,
follow me on Twitter, and I'll be bragging about it.
it'll be James Harden.
All right. So we're going to hit the last segment of the week here, and we did impressive performances in the NBA earlier in the show, but now we're going to switch it up just a little bit, tweak it. We're going to go to most memorable performances in the NBA for 2016-2017, with the emphasis being that they don't necessarily have to impress. So Brandon, who do you have for most memorable performance of the year?
All right, well, although it would probably have been more fun to go with something that's memorable in a bad way, like the KD Russ beef from earlier in the year, I'm actually going to go with something that was memorable in a good way, which was just the storyline of all the triple doubles this year. And I'm not talking just Russ. Harden had a ton. LeBron had his, 13. He gets one every couple weeks. Even my boy Nikola Jokic finished 4th in the NBA
we got
with
random
6
players.
triple-doubles. Exactly, dude. Even him and, like, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's really good, but he's getting triple-doubles. It felt like everyone was getting them, and these used to be things that were supposed to be hard to get, and it seems like they're just coming out of the woodwork every single night this season. So that's what I'm going to remember the most about this year, is just something that seemed so unattainable, other than a few, like, select guys in past seasons, felt like every night this season.
And think about this. Draymond Green had a triple-double without 10 points. It's insane. It's insane. 10 steals, 10 blocks.
That is
10
all.
assists.
I love seeing that. Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Like, that is such old school basketball right there. Like, you're getting like these random stats, like, like blocks, 10 blocks in a whole game. Like,
right.
That's so unconventional in the current age of basketball. So you did go with an impressive, definitely an impressive part of the season. And it was so much fun to watch. There's so many players going at it like every single night. But Nick, what do you have? Are we gonna be impressed?
I gotta end this on that, guys. And I apologize to all my Knicks fans out there, but the Knicks, this was supposed to be the dream team. D Rose, Melo, Courtney Lee, Joakim Noah, the unicorn. What happened? What happened? They were 32-50 last year. Now, guess what? They finished 31-50 this year. I mean, I don't know where they're gonna go, what the direction is with Phil Jackson. Him and Melo beefing throughout the season. Just the Knicks, such a terrible season, and then now they're not even getting a top 5 pick. How in the middle of the season do you decide to win games and now you don't even have a top 5 pick? I don't understand the Knicks, and we'll see where they go from here, but it's not looking good.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
Yeah, so that's kind of a downer for all the Knicks fans, but I don't care. I'm a Celtics fan, so whatever.
Man, they finally paid off the Carmelo Anthony trade at least. It's finally over after like 6 years, so you got that going.
Yeah, so that's all we got for this week. Just a couple of capital J's hanging around the desk talking some NBA. But we prepped you for the tailgate, talked some soccer, stayed woke, and we gave our MVP picks for the NBA season.
Harden, baby.
And we might be back next week, but to be honest, we don't really know.
We don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, nickel hours have been crazy, and we can't make any promises. But UC Sports will run, so tune into that. Make sure you're still watching UCTV, because it's a pretty sweet channel. And anyways, I'm Cam DeBrusque alongside Nick O'Hara and Brandon Carney, and our soccer correspondent, Daniela Marlanda, and you're watching UCTV.